Well, Warner Brothers, I gotta hand it to you. For once, you made a good decision, because this is absolute dog shit. So, in the past week, there was a little thing leaked online, apparently on some random YouTube channel that doesn't have it anymore, it got copyright claimed, which happens to be a trailer, or it looks like a trailer, for the canceled Powerpuff Girls, or just Powerpuff, I guess, going by the title at the end of it, live-action CW series that was in the works 5 years ago at this point, is when it started to be in the works, and then they started filming, I think, during the pandemic, and then they refilmed it, and then one of the main actresses left, and then it was kind of just shelved, and we heard nothing about it until it was canceled, and then nothing happened until now, and suddenly it's released. I don't know why. I don't know if, I from all the places I read, they didn't say what the exact source of the leak was, other than it was just on YouTube, so. But anyway, as everyone has noted at this point, it's pretty obvious why this thing got canned. It's bad. It's real bad.
There's a part of me that, wonders if it was actually because it was bad, or maybe it was some kind of write-off. It was in the works around the time of all that, but there's no evidence of that, or I haven't seen any of that.
The official statement from the executive producer, I believe, one of the executive producers, was that the first time around that they filmed it, they felt that the pilot wasn't working, that it was tonally off, too campy, was the exact quote. So that's why they went and refilmed it. The actress for Blossom, Chloe Bennett, she left. So then they didn't even have one of the actresses that they started with. And yeah, I just think they saw that it wasn't working. It was crap. And for once, WB got it right. They canceled something that should have never seen the light of day, and we'll get into the exact things that we noticed that were just ridiculous. So, do you want to start? I want to talk to you about this because I'm assuming you remember more about the cartoon than I do, because I only remember seeing it at most, maybe, I don't know, a few times, more than 20 years ago. So I don't remember much about it other than the Rowdy Rough Boys, Mojo Jojo. That's about it. That's all I remember.
Well, fortunately, I reacquainted myself with the show on Netflix fairly recently. So it's not too fresh on the mind, because it was sometime during the pandemic, I believe, or maybe in that coming out period, when we were going back outside. But I remember it a little fresher, and I would say no, it wasn't. It was very tonally off, for sure. I can guarantee that. I could have guaranteed that, to be honest, even if I hadn't rewatched the series.
Yeah,
I do.
Exactly.
I have a good memory of the show, at least a highlight moments. I'm sure everyone does have their, highlights from the Powerpuff Girls in their head. It's iconic.
Yeah. So the main thing that pisses me off about this is sort of not even sort of. It's just a blatant disrespect of the cartoon. They go as far as to say that this live-action version is supposedly the real version of what they really were, and that the cartoon was based on them, and that, and this is a direct line from the trailer, that it whitewashed them. It's first of all, where do you get off, one, changing the characters, and then two, claiming that your version is the real version, and that the actual source material is ripping you off? I get the feeling that that's supposed to be satirical, but it comes across as ridiculous.
I feel like some people were getting a little too up in arms about that line. I don't think it was a good line. I would argue you could probably say this about a lot of things, but maybe if it was delivered better, it could have worked, given a different build up, made it not done in the way it was delivered, I guess, by Buttercup. But I guess in that universe, they technically were whitewashed. And I can see what they were going for. I think I would argue it's probably more so the delivery and the execution than the joke itself. If anything, I probably wouldn't have even acknowledged that. They could have you could have, if you want to make it so in that world the cartoon was the cartoon, just a property that built up off of their popularity. You could just not acknowledge that at all.
See, here's the thing that I get, the vibe I get. It's almost as though this live-action version was just like an extended parody skit that you'd find maybe on SNL or something off of YouTube, like, I don't know, Corridor Digital. That's sort of insulting to them, but it definitely feels like something unofficial, like a joke. That's what it is. It's a joke.
It reminded me of like those like little like fake trailers you see for like cartoons, like Doug the movie, like you said on YouTube back in like high school.
Or I think at one point it was College Humor did a like a fake trailer for a Dora the Explorer movie, and they actually had Ariel Winter as Dora.
Yeah,
that's a while ago.
It felt like that. You're right. It did feel like a sketch, but it definitely felt like a CW thing. I guess I've seen enough like CW like stuff a little bit to like get like this is a CW thing for sure.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of the DC CW shows, and I don't think they got that bad. Even Supergirl.
Yeah, but it's like I can feel the vibe, I would say, of like it as a CW thing. It's just like a lower quality CW thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm questioning if that had something to do with the fact that it was filmed during the pandemic. Like, you look at the shots of them flying in the air, and obviously it's a chroma key shot, and it's not even that it's like the background is keyed out badly, but you could tell the lighting on their faces doesn't match what's going on in the background, and it's all zoomed in. It's almost like they filmed it at home and then they sent that to the studio, which put it to post-production, and they did it in like 5 minutes. Like, I'm sure one of us could do it better. I mean, we have done it better. We've used chroma key before in the college studio, and we know how about, you know, light matching and things like that. But here it just looks very amateurish, almost as if it was on purpose, like supposed to look like a parody. Was anyone supposed to take this seriously?
Honestly, I was looking at it, and I saw that too with like the lighting. But when it came to like other stuff, I kind of thought it looked better than like most things. Like for what the premise was, it looked like it surprisingly had a lot going on to me. Like not like anything crazy. Like when you saw like the robot at like the end of the trailer, that definitely looked rough. But yeah, for it being a robot in some kind of live action thing, I would say I've seen worse. But
some of the visuals to me made it look like a freaking music video from the early 90s. It just looked very unpolished, low grade, and the one article I read about this leak was saying how the footage that did exist might have been shipped off to, or like outsourced to different trailer making companies, and that this might have been one of them, so something that was sort of official but not finalized.
True. It could have also been like maybe like an unfinished product. Like for all we know, that might not even be like it could be like placeholder like footage too.
Yeah, I mean, however way you cut it, it looks bad. And then there's the dialogue. The dialogue very much seemed like they're going for that whole, basically, I guess our generation, because they're supposed to be mid-20s, I suppose, and that's what we were 5 years ago. Getting older. But they have this awful, and I hate using this word, zillennial dialogue, like when she says, blah, 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 gender normative, blah, blah, blah. The heck was the other thing she said? Just like the banter they have back and forth, like when they're in the car and they're talking about, oh, he has like a hate boner for you. Yeah, but that's the best kind of boner. It's like, oh, ew, no, keep this away from Powerpuff. Just get it away. Stop.
I feel like I think of things like this. Like, remember like when Velma dropped? It feels like when people are trying to make that, like, we need to make a more mature version for like people who used to enjoy the show today. And then I don't think they know what that... I don't know if they understand what that is or what the proper way to go about that in like either like scenario here.
They absolutely do not. The creator actually went to the network in 2023 and said to them, whatever you're doing, it doesn't make any sense. They're not even little girls anymore, and that's the whole point. They're Powerpuff girls. If you're changing them this much, it's not about them being girls anymore, because that's like the whole shtick, is superheroes, but also little girls, and, you know, kind of all the things that come with being a young child like that, I guess. You know, the innocence of it.
It's funny, because if you want to go that route, maybe you could have worked it with, like, the young adults and like just, you know, the same thing, but just build it off like young adults going through what young adults going through without making it whatever that was.
Yeah.
Because because they're saying it wanted to be real, but like, which is going to be hard to do with like the premise as is, right? But I guess I can't say I was a young 20-year-old like young woman, so maybe I'm not the best source.
Yeah, like you obviously wouldn't have been the target audience, even though the one thing that you paid for in Multiversus was the Powerpuff Girls when they came out. You actually spent money on using those characters, and I'm sure I'll have video of us playing with that here. So if they couldn't even appeal to, say, someone like you, who is it for? Who was it for? The answer is no one, and that's why it got canned.
I think the idea was it was for people around, like us, who did grow up with the show, remember it. But again, it's like they just didn't capture. They didn't capture none of what made that show great, or even like did anything to make it like properly reminiscent. Like, one thing that stood out to me, I think more than anything, was how they went about doing Bubbles, like making her drunk and then having her selling stuff on in Hollywood, like out of a car. It just felt very weird.
At best, the closest thing I saw to it being like the show were the set photos that I saw, where they had the actual outfits from the cartoon. I don't think that was in the trailer. I could check again. I don't remember seeing them. Maybe for like the one scene where it says they did an oopsie and then Mojo died or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the parts where they're flying, it looks like they have the outfits. Oh, there it is. Okay.
But that was like them, I guess, before the present in the show. And I have to wonder, because we saw a lot of pictures or like people, like, stuff with surface online of them recording. And we saw them in those regular outfits. And so I don't know if we ever see them in some new costume or if they were just wearing those costumes. I know Buttercup was against it. So I wonder if they had like some kind of updated outfit. I did see people arguing, like, they just look the same in that normal outfit. And it's like, yeah, they do. And it's definitely weird. Could have jazzed it up for like, even in the opening there. Like they could have been a little jazzed up or something different, since were no longer little girls. And at that point, Bubbles was already drinking, it looked like. So,
yeah, it's like visually they tease you with the fact that, hey, this is obviously connected to Powerpuff Girls. You know that, you remember that, you like that. But then in the same breath, they're also acting like they were shamed to be connected to it. And maybe that's just a plot point. Maybe that was all on purpose and it's supposed to make you go, wow, what the heck? Why is it like that? I need to watch it to see why they're going in that direction.
One thing I did see, because when I was reading about it online, is that the lady in charge of this was known for writing some other things on the CW, and I saw people give opinions that she was very decent at writing strong women protagonists without making them seem like they're like not like
girl
they're
boss.
too like too girl fantasy or whatever, right? So I do wonder maybe if the show had like, because clearly from the trailer things look pretty off, but I have to wonder if maybe if it did come out in some hypothetical situation, if like audiences could have vibed with it over time. Maybe it was a rough start, a bad trailer. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. It looked like it probably would have been rough, even from the premise. I still find it weird that they decided to go with like make the cartoon real in that universe. Felt like a unnecessary double layer. You know what I mean?
It's just a way of separating it, I guess, so that they have more creative freedom.
But we didn't need to like acknowledge that the cartoon existed in world. Like, I feel like making it its own thing would have been way better without acknowledging the other thing at all. I mean, acknowledging it in some way, do like the jokes they do in like cartoons or different movies, where it's like the Trolls movie had a joke in the beginning where it's like, what the Trolls toys look like? They're those weird like ugly big eye things with the hair. But you've seen how the cartoon movies look like. They're just like kind of cutesy and whatnot. But there was a moment where they like put out a fake troll like decoys to fool somebody, and it's just the regular troll toy before we cut to the movie Trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of thing. We could have just had like if you had like a toy made of them, and it's like you just see like Blossom toy or something.
Yeah.
So like a reference, but like not like something more respectful than hating themselves, I suppose, or hating everything about their hero work. And I can't look at the trailer and I don't see it as like hateful. Ultimately, I think that was just like a line for a joke that just failed. I just think it was a bad joke.